Righty. Lum-de-dum-dum-da. Yes. Yes. Hello, everybody. How are you? You probably heard me talking, saying, hey, we need to keep these levels at the same place. We're big, we're bad, and we're back. It is 10:30. Yes, about as on time as we've ever been. I think so. We have a new guy. We have Rob here, you see, and so Rob's kicking Eric's butt a bit, you see, because now Eric has to be like on time, and it's been great. He has to show the new kid that this is the way we do it. Isn't that right, Eric? Oh yeah. He's like, oh yeah. It's like, oh, I can't just sleep in now. Dang. Anyway, hope we're all doing marvelously well. It's so lovely to see everybody. Devon, Alex, Sheila, Kip, Moats Brothers, Necro Dogs, Kesa, Matty, and Spotty Molly. No, a new guy. New. Hello, IK to Multimedia. So what we decided to do today, as you probably guessed, is feature and mix a song with just one manufacturer's plugin. And today, the lucky winner is IK Multimedia. So thanks for joining us. That's wonderful. So, what's he doing? Oh, we're going to give away 3 copies of the, what is it we're giving away today, Eric? Eric's going to look it up. Okay. So we're going to give away a bunch of IK Multimedia plugins as well. We're going to do 3 giveaways, and of course, as ever, stick around to the end, at the end of the hour and a half, and you will also win a 1 year's membership to the Academy, which is unbelievably good. It's interesting because I have our Academy open here in the chat function, and I see people here. I'm like, I'm going to text them in the chat. I'm on live now. Hey, did you all, you probably did, but did you all see yesterday's video? How cool was that? It was so wonderful to have Bradley Cook, who was the engineer on Everlong, the Foo Fighters Everlong, come down and hang out with us and listen to the song and, give us his opinion. First of all, most importantly, tell us how the song was actually recorded. He remembered a lot, considering the song is over, isn't that crazy, 20 years ago. Wow, did you see those photos he had from the session? Like, Pat Smear and Dave Grohl all literally look like they're 12 years old. It's like everybody was so young. It's absolutely amazing. So it was really wonderful. So thank you, everybody that went to watch that video. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please go and check it out. And the other lovely thing is we did do a course with Bradley, a full-blown recording course, which of course you can get, and we've got a pre-sale on it. So I'm sure that Matt, hopefully listening, or James, or both of them, will put links up to that too. Anyway, Devin says, Paul Eric, what, you mean we got somebody here to keep him on time? What? Hey, Ted. Hey, Ron. Hey, Adrian. Hey, Tony. Leslie. Richard. Alster. Tim. Sergio. Yes, thank you, Sergio. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I saw your lovely comments. So thanks, everybody that commented on the video. That was really, really wonderful. I really appreciate it. Please go and check it out. It was really, really a lot of fun to do that. And have a proper, breakdown of the song, based on insider knowledge, if you like. Insider knowledge. The guy that actually recorded it. And, one of the biggest takeaways I got from that, if you haven't already seen it, is he kept saying, I didn't do anything special, I just did. And then he would explain what he did. And it might not be special for a world-class engineer, but for many of us, it's great to have positive affirmation. When somebody tells you, they're using a 57 on a snare. Now, maybe that's not that unusual, but it is affirmation that, a $100 microphone can record a snare drum. I think the bit that I love most about it, if you haven't already seen it, is him talking about using two mics and how Gil Norton really, really was a stickler for phase. So they get the two mics, they get the capsules as close as possible together on the speaker, and in a place that was picking up the sound as evenly as possible. Then he would flip the polarity on one of the channels and make sure, bring the mics up and make sure that they phase canceled, polarity canceled each other out. That way he knew that the polarity was good. And that is the kind of level of detail that makes great guitar sounds. I spoke to somebody yesterday, an amazing engineer and producer. The video will come out in the next couple of weeks, who also talked about the same kind of stuff. So please check out that video. Without further ado, let's get stuck in. So what we have here, I'll go to the other screen, is a track that is up in the Academy. So this is good for the Academy members as well, because you'll already have seen a mix breakdown that I did on it. But this is, what we do here, we have a live stream and we mix from scratch. So this is a mix from scratch, and I'm going to do it live with all of you. And I'm going to move as fast as I can. This song is called Numb Me Up. The band is called Love Sick Radio. They're really fantastic guys. This is their original singer. They actually do have a new singer. Like I say, the tracks are available in the Academy. We're going to use T-RackS, IK Multimedia's T-RackS plugins, which, as I'm sure I'm unashamedly a huge fan of. I've done videos before I even knew anybody at IK Multimedia. I actually did a quick mastering video, which is very successful with a couple of 100,000 views using, you guessed it, T-RackS. And it's sort of a secret weapon that isn't so secret anymore. Now, I love lots of different plugins and lots of different companies and stuff like that. But when they said, hey, do you want to do a T-RackS video in one of your live streams a couple of days ago, I was like, I can't remember. I could almost find the, I could always find the email. I think I responded heck yeah, because it's such a no-brainer. I love the way those plugins sound. So let's do what we've been talking about. If you know Monday's video, I talked about my 5 biggest mixing mistakes. And number 5 probably should have been number 1, but number 5 was listen to the song as a whole. And it wasn't about soloing, because that's a big bunch of, YouTuber BS that you shouldn't solo. Of course you solo, but you solo with a purpose. When I say listen to the whole song, I mean press play, get your tracks up and listen and decide what you're going to do and how you're going to focus on the song before you start. There is nothing wrong with starting mixing with the drums. There's nothing wrong with starting with the vocal. There's nothing wrong starting with the banjo. There's nothing wrong with starting with the tambourine. You can start wherever you like, but you need to be doing it with a purpose. I know there's a lot of opinions. I saw a video and a discussion recently starting with the kick drum is not the right thing to do. That is complete baloney. Maybe it is the right thing to do because you might want to build up a massive, exciting drum sound, then build your song on top. However, if the song is an acoustic guitar-driven, pop song, you might want to start with the acoustic guitar, then blend in the vocal, then put in the drums. So, why am I talking about this? Well, because we're now going to listen to the track. Everything faders up. Look at that. Faders are all set at 0. And that is it. Nothing. No plugins, not even panning. In fact, it looks like there's one thing panned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press play, and as I listen, you'll probably see me, will definitely see me, turn things up and down a little bit, and I'm going to get a little rough mix of the elements. There's not even any groups created down here. And I'm going to create groups, and I'm going to do a rough mix of the elements before applying any compression or EQ. So, here we go. I'm stopping for a second. So what I just quickly did there is a couple of things. I took the backgrounds, I created a group in the chorus. So here's the chorus background. Dumb me up, dumb me down, baby, shut me up. Okay, so there's some doubles up here of the parts. And what they are is they're duplicated, probably for effects originally. So I'm actually, for the time being, going to mute those that are just a pure double. Because it is a duplicate, not a double. It's a duplicate of the file. So let's have a quick listen. And this is what I'm doing. I'm stopping. I'm examining the song. Dumb me up, dumb me down, baby, shut me up. Still the truth, hate me. I'll be yours till I die. So that's 2 takes. A little bit of an imbalance in volume. Dumb me up, dumb me down, baby, shut me up. Still the truth, hate me. And that feels like a double pretty much with the lead vocal. So let's put that in. Dumb me up, dumb me down, baby, shut me up. Steal the truth, hate me, I'll be yours till I die. Oh, that's nice. Octave down, third above, lovely. Dumb me up, dumb. So I made that as a group, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them down. It's funny, I'm saying it's nice. I recorded this a few years ago now, I think probably about 4 years ago. Numb me up. We did it in a really big live room that was my old live room. So let's quickly listen to that chorus, see what we just did. There's some rakes here that are stereo. You see left and right. So let's pan those guitars left and right. Not doing any EQ compression or anything yet. We're just listening to the mix. There's DIs, which are up for some reason. But, you know, this is how the multi-tracks appear when you bring them into your session. So everybody in the academy that has these, you know, I'm giving you exactly what would happen as if I had them. Okay. That's a great guitar sound. So what that is that's a Les Paul with, I believe, a slow wah. Stereo mandolin. Now, we had fun with this stuff. I think at the time we were sort of going like a train kind of route. We wanted it to be a rock band, but we also wanted it to be sort of fun. I'm just building a sort of quick rough here. So just so you know what I'm doing is I'm creating just panning things out from the middle, creating some width for the kick, the snare, the lead vocal, and the bass to sit, and then I'm going to see what I've got. So let's go back to the top. It's amazing how much space there already is. I'm not applying any EQ, not applying any compression. I've barely done any volume stuff. Everything's still at 0, but just see how panning helps you. I mean, it's as simple as that. And war after war after war with me. Okay, we're having some little internet stuff here because Eric has it on Wi-Fi and not Ethernet. I don't know if we... Are you satisfied the way I 1, 2, 2. Says bad. I can see everything you guys are saying, by the way. I know, just so you know, I'm streaming it as well. I can see it. So, not receiving data fast enough, it says from my end. I think it's... Hey! Yes, internet problems. Hopefully it is now solved. Hi, caramba. Okay, we're big, we're bad, and we're back. Sorry that we lost a whole bunch of you. And I'm sorry, that's very embarrassing. And I apologize, IK Multimedia. Okay, so what was I doing? I was panning the toms. And then we had all kinds of chaos with internet. Here we go.
After war after war with me. Are you satisfied the way I bleed? War after war after war with me. Knock me off, tell me down, baby, shut me up, steal the truth, hate me, I'll be.
Okay, Mother, so I just created a quick drum group there. So let's have a listen. So this is just all the drums now grouped together. And as you can see, everything is at 0 dB. Can you hear that lovely bleed? That's because the band were tracking live in the room. Have a listen. It'd be fun. Let's have a quick listen to, here's the rooms. The far rooms. Yeah, you can hear it. So what we had is we had the guitar player in the room. Now, the amp was isolated, so don't get me wrong. The amp was definitely isolated, but it was, bleeding just through the walls. I mean, that's the way it is. But the bass player, the guitarist, and even the singer was in the room as well. I'm not sure if you're going to hear him bleeding in just because he's not that loud of a singer. Let's have a listen. All right, cool. Okay, so I've grouped it super quick. Now, what we're going to get to next is a really, really quick, simple mix of the drums before I do anything else. So I'm actually going to suspend my groups, which is Shift-Command-G for those of you that are Pro Tools people. Let's take it to the chorus where it's kick and snare. Now, something that's interesting about this is that snare is actually a compressed version of the live snare. So what I would do at the end of the recording is I would get like a single snare hit and then like hit it that way. So we get a single snare hit and then paste it over. Let's pan our hat. Now the hat is just going to be set up so that I personally like it on audience perspective. Now a lot of you are probably drummers and like drummer's perspective, but this is audience perspective. All right, so this is a super, super rough, quick mix of the drums before we do any compression or any EQ. I've got little program drums going on here. Let's have a listen. I'm pretty happy with that. So what have we done? We've just created like a quick rough mix of all of the drum elements. By the way, thank you everybody that's watching. We're really sorry about the internet issues. Some things that unfortunately are out of my own personal control. God bless it. But we're big, we're bad, and we're back. So those of you that are back with us, I really, really appreciate it. So now what I'm going to do is we are going to do some compression and some EQ. Now, here's our live kick. Now, when I printed that live kick, I did actually do a decent amount of compression and EQ on it. Great. 3 elements. So the first one, the kick in, is actually EQ'd on the way in. It's one of the few things that I did on the way in. So I've pulled out some low mids, I've boosted some 60, and I did a little tiny bit of 2.5, and I did that all with a Uri 546. It's not super aggressive metal, but it's definitely more shaped. Now the kick out, I believe, I can't remember, I think it was a Sennheiser 602. And that is actually pulled out quite a bit out from the kick, so it's getting an overall view of the kick. And then the kick reso is another kick drum sitting in front of that kick drum, and that is being mic'd. Great. Now all 3 elements together. So it's a fairly natural kick. Now we do have some samples up here, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm not going to use any samples. There's only one snare sample, which is the actual snare itself. It's just a compressed version of it put against it. So I'm not going to go to any of those things yet. We're going to like bust them together and create a sound. Now, I honestly like the way these are recorded, and I don't mean that. The fact is, this was a really good live room. Those 3 elements sound good to me. They really do. What I'd like to do is just listen to the kick in and maybe give it a little bit more of what it did. So, if we go to the new, T-RackS, the suite. That might be kind of fun. You know what? I'm going to use the suite on the bus. So I can go to individual elements first of all, and then the suite afterwards. You know what the suite's going to do? It's going to allow me to like look at all of the plugins together and try them together. So, you know, let's do it. So we're opening the suite here, and you've got a default comes up there, the T-RackS 1, which is absolutely crazy good. As usual, the default always sounds good. You know, that's a wonderful thing. I mean, you hear me praise these plugins, and I do use T-RackS. Of all of the IK stuff, the T-RackS stuff is my favorite, and you see me talking about it all the time. Now, One thing you may, this is good because I could use it to kind of shape that kick drum. I'm actually not going to do that at the moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to grab the British channel. I'm going to grab the British channel. I'm going to get rid of that and only have the British channel at the moment. And you might recognize what that sort of reminds you of, but it's the quote-unquote British channel. Okay, so I'm going to have some fun with it. I'm going to look at it and think about it in the same way as I would with my SSL channel, for instance, just saying. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to go down, around about 60 and do a little bump. Let's give it a little bump at 60 and have a listen to that live kick. I'm doing too much on purpose. Now, it seems like I have to put too much in purpose. Now, why is that? That's because it's competing with some of the low mids that I don't like. It's nice they default to about 400. I'm going to come down a little bit on the low mid here to about, sorry, over here they default to 700, my fault. Okay, so I'm going to come down, I don't know, like 3.5 here. If you hear me come in and out, it's quite a drastic difference. It's nice. It keeps it. The nice thing about this channel is it keeps it really natural sounding. How can I say this? You know how sometimes when you're using EQs, it sounds EQ'd? You know what that means? Like you hear it. I think it's probably, for most of us, it's when we hear phase shifting, phase issues, polarity issues, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. That still sounds natural. It sounds like more of what I gave it. So it's pretty natural. So it's nice. So I've gone in there and I've boosted some like a little bit over 2.5. I've done a little bit over 7K and I like it. I would go in and out and you can have a listen. It's got some good weight, but it's not over the top. This isn't a metal song. And if I want to add some of that, I do have samples at my disposal if I want to add some rah in there. You know what I mean? But at the moment, I'm just using it like that. So now I'm going to come in and put some compression on. I went a little aggressive on the ratio on purpose there, but I'm going to smooth it back a little bit. I like what that's doing with the fast attack. It's allowing the tiniest amount of transient to come through, just the tiniest amount. But I do hear a little bit of like low end cut because there's a lot of low end going into it. So that's being compressed as well. So I'm going to keep it on the fast attack, but I'm actually going to boost the low end a little bit. I like that. I like that a lot. So, pretty natural sounding, pretty darn natural. You know, it sounds like what I expect when I use this big thing over here. Great. So this is what really, really nice. I didn't need to use the suite for that, but you could tell if I were on the suite, I could put in continuously more things. Now I'm going to listen to the kick out. The interesting thing about the kick out is it's got a lot of woof and a lot of ooh, ooh, ooh. So I have a choice. We could get in there and we could pull out that 350. If we did that, we'd lose some of the ooh. Let's have a listen to the kick reso head. I like the reso head. I like the air it's giving me, but I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Now what I'm going to do for schnitz and schniggles is I'm actually going to time adjust this back. Now, for those of you who don't know what it is, I'm just going to bring back these kicks so that they're all in phase. And it's mainly the kick in, which is hearing it like a nanosecond early. So I'm going up, and you can do this. Lots of people use plugins to do this. I'm not going to do it with a plugin. I mean, lots of people, you know, use a plugin to shape the transients so they match. I just superstitiously like to keep it where I recorded, and then I can always go back if I didn't like it. Now, it's reading up here at 113 samples, so let's add 113 samples here. And now have a listen. I like it. It's adding a little tiny bit of extra low end because it's the phase, the polarity is matching. Now, I'm also going to do this on the samples quickly because those samples we chose are actually aligned to the kick in. Okay. So pretty much a natural kick. Now, if I want to get aggressive on this kick drum, that's where I have these samples that I have at my disposal. And if you're in the academy, you get these as well. You get all of these as well. So I'm going to listen to the PR kick. Let's put it in solo so you guys and girls can hear it. It's really just all attack. And then the I Wanna is an insane low end. And then the warehouse kick is actually from the Aerosmith record I did. I'm going to leave it like that for the time being. We're going to go through this super quick. Now, as I was saying earlier, this snare is actually a sample of the real snare of these elements, but I've squashed the schnizzle out of it. As you can see there, I'm matching the dynamics that weren't in the sample because the sample was placed by hand. So that's what happens when you place a sample by hand. All right, let's have a quick listen to the snare elements here. And I'm going to be in solo a little bit more than I might be in other situations, specifically so that you can hear more. I know I don't always advocate only listening in solo, but how else are we going to talk about some of the subtle things? So I've brought that little sample down, bearing in mind it is the same snare, it's just heavily compressed. Down considerably, and now I'm actually going to bus these elements together and treat them with EQ in one time. So let's go, we can just go bus one here, or bus sub, whatever you want to call it, and a mono auxiliary, a sub, a bus. So we'll call this snare sub bus aux. Okay. I always do that because people always ask me what's the difference. There is no difference. It's just nomenclature. It's like whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Okay, so bussing those three elements together. Let's have a listen. A lot of bottom snare going on. which I don't mind. Pretty cool, natural sounding snare. Okay, so let's grab, I'm actually tempted to grab the same plugin. I think it's going to do what I need it to do. It's very, SSL-ish. Excuse me, I'm just clearing my throat. So if I get the just go for this now. Now, you've seen, obviously, inside of the suite, but here it is on its own. So let's go and, let's go and get some, 7 up here and just brighten it up a little bit. It's very subtle. I love what it's doing. The compressor is in already, but let's have a listen. It's got that spanky kind of snare, SSL compression-y sound. I'm putting a little 120, 100, 120 on the bottom of the snare. .5. Okay, I like that. So it's we're keeping it natural. We're keeping these drums natural as possible. Yeah, because so IK is saying that's one of TLA's favorite processors. Yeah, I think the spank is the sound that all of us that work or have worked on SSLs always use. It's that kind of that sound of just the attack, enough attack going through that it kind of goes. Pah! It's just enough. It's not like using a transient designer where you shape it so it's like tick, 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 tick. It's just that pa, pa, pa. That's what we love on drums. That's the reason why people love SSLs, and that's the reason why people model SSLs. So let's go to a more continuous kick and snare part. It's very natural sounding drum sound. Very natural. We're not doing anything completely nuts. And that's a big deal for me. I think one of the things that we need to talk about is, plugins that don't overprocess, that just have that right balance, It is nice when you open up a plugin and it sounds good immediately and you're not sitting there going, where's the sweet spot, It's interesting. I watched somebody's video the other day that was critical of me opening a plugin and getting a sound quickly, saying that you need to spend a long time. I don't get that. I think when you're working, whether you're a professional or a semi-professional or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You want to be able to open up a tool and it sound good. And to me, that's the best review of a plugin. Don't you? I know you. This community is pretty amazing and very positive, but wouldn't you say that it is actually a good thing to have in a plugin? That you would open it up and go, I like the sound. The defaults are great. We've done that with delays. We do that with the 1176. Actually, for instance, this would be a good example. When you know that we've been in love with the IK 1176, or sorry, the 76. Because it's got a little extra bite, whichever one they may or may not have modeled. It had a little crunch, and the default sounds good. Here it is bypassed. And now I'll play it with it on. It sounds great. In fact, it gave me a little bit of extra gain, so maybe that kind of fooled us a little bit because of an extra gain, but it actually was what I wanted. I wanted a little bit more volume out of it anyway. So to me, what is wrong with opening something and it sounding good for the purpose? And I actually think that is, frankly, the best way I'm going to review a plugin. If I spend 2 hours trying to find the sound of the plugin, that's not the real world, especially, if you are doing this in between having a full-time job. So many people here, I know so many of you here, I can see the chat, that have other jobs, are like incredible professionals that run companies, do amazing things. Or Anita's on here, Anita works nights. So when she's making music, when all of these people here are making music, they have maybe a couple of hours. And to me, I want to open up a plugin and it sound good and do the job that I want. I don't want to spend 2 hours making it sound good. So it was a little strange kind of commentary from somebody there, but I think that's typical maybe of people that are blessed to be YouTubers. Maybe they've got, no disrespect, but maybe that's all they do and they can spend all day tweaking plugins. But when it comes to either you've got a full-time job or you're like us and we do music full-time, we need things that work straight away. And the 76 was a great revelation because it has that bite and it has that grit. And it means that, yes, there are other 1176 emulations that I like, but this one, when I'm like, oh, I want that sound, I want some compression, but I also want it to be just a little brighter and a little grittier and just a cut, great for snare drums, great for electric guitars, maybe even great for a vocal, boom, bada boom. It actually saves me 2 plugins because I don't have to brighten it, and you know what I mean? And it's just all in one. So I think that's a good selling point for me, if anyone, is the fact that having plugins that default to good sounds. Very natural drum sound. Even though there's a little bit of samples in there, they're blended super low. And we haven't done any kind of bass compression or anything. So, what are we giving away today, young Eric?
T-RackS, that's what Matt said.
The what, sorry?
T-RackS.
Yeah, T-RackS what? T-RackS, the full bundle. Okay, so I'm now going to listen to the overhead mic. So what we're going to do here is I'm actually going to go back to that. I'm going to try other plugins, I promise, other IK ones, but I am going to go back to the British channel. It's kind of a revelation. It's probably, I grew up working on, Soundcraft Ghosts and, inexpensive, at least for the time, affordable kind of consoles. And then I always wanted an API, when I came to America. But of course, being in England as a kid, I coveted Neves. I used to watch videos with remember that Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic video where they're jumping up and down on an 8078? I was like a kid going, what is that? I need one of those. I didn't even know what it was. I was too young. But my point is I always coveted it. But when I finally got to the wonderful world of SSL, I'm like, oh, now I get it. And I think there's just something inherent particularly about the compression and the way you EQ into compression, which has a very, very nice sound. So what we're going to do is we're just going to come along and cut some low mids. So let's have a listen. I mean, that immediately made a huge difference. One of the things I like about pulling out about 350 out of overheads is it really helps the toms, because the toms can have that, So let's have a listen. I want you to, I know it's tough, but I'm going to try and put that in loop and have a listen to the overheads with and without that EQ point that I just did. I cut like a nice big chunk at about 350 out of that. it gets rid of some of the and just gives some low end. Oh, I must have high passed because I got a dislike. Hey! Oh, if you are watching, we're giving away T-RackS Max. There's 369 of you watching. Thank you ever so much for all sticking around. I really apologize for our internet issues. We've been lucky pretty much on the sort of 40, 50 streams we've done. We don't usually get this issue that often, but we did. I think we had a power outage once, didn't we? We actually had the whole canyon go down like a year ago. That wasn't much fun. All the power went out on this side of LA. I think a tree fell down across the power line because the power lines go up on the hills here. But anyway, I see that there's 373 people watching. We're now going to do a giveaway of T-RackS Max. So it's pretty freaking awesome. We're doing 3 of them, and at the end, we're also going to give away a year's membership to the Academy. So please do me a favor, first of all, and hit that like button. That would be really wonderful. It lets YouTube know that there's actually people watching that like it. So thank you ever so much. Hit the like button. And my question is do any of you use T-RackS? And you can say no. That's quite all right. Anybody can win. It can be a yes or no answer. But I just want to know, do you use T-RackS? And I suppose if you do use T-RackS, what is your favorite plugin that they have? If you watch me, you know obviously I dig the British channel, and I'm learning more about it. You know I love that 76 because I used it on whenever we do streams of any all bets are off, any plugins. The ones that always come up for me on IK are always the 76 and always. And the word always is true here. You know, they say never say always. Well, in this instance, it is always. I love the mastering stuff. The classic T-RackS, you know, the yellow one. We use it all the time. And when I say all the time, I mean capital A, capital L, capital L. We use it all the time. It is our secret weapon. It's not so secret. A lot of mixers do it to get level, to get aggression into the track, to get the excitement, especially when you're doing a mix-off and you're coming up against other mixers and you want it to jump out of the speakers. That is a secret weapon. We use it on a daily basis. I mean, that is remarkable how much better. See how much like low-end ring you get on it? But also on this, so what are we getting? What answers are we getting here? Not yet. Oh, great. Black 76. Oh, Matthew uses the EQ 7381. Tons of stuff. Oh, the clip. Oh, yeah, the clipper in that is amazing. TR5, don't use them. Would love to try. Great. T-RackS compressor is the one I use most. Excellent, Lisa. Thank you. Ivan, Eric says someday. You could remember, anybody can enter. This is done at random. This is a giveaway. We just want to know, you know, if you use them and if you do, which one you use it. But if you don't use them, you can say, no, I don't use them. And trust me, it's done at random. You might still win. This is not favoritism to T-RackS users. So it's a random thing. Okay, so I'm going to run the high pass filter here. Actually quite aggressive on that. It's not that I don't want the low end to be sound good, but I don't need, how about that? That's a better way of describing it. I don't need the low end from the overheads. I want the low end from the actual drum mic itself. And as you can see, we are using a sample of itself, its own tom against it. It is the same tom. And what is good about that is you can get pretty darn good phase polarity. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's pretty darn good. So let's listen to the real floor against it. Nice. Now I'm going to listen to it again with the same section with the rack in as well. So there's a blending a little bit of that tom. Now remember, those toms are the actual toms. They're just compressed. At the end of a recording session on the drums, I will get the drummer to play the snare again and play the toms again. All right. I'm going to just dump the whole kit together, even though we haven't done the rooms or blended that yet. Let's just listen to where we are at. Now, can you hear what I'm hearing? What I'm hearing is a really nice natural drum sound. I mean, it sounds really nice now. Especially the snare. It's got a little bit of spank from the live one, and then the rooms are coming alive. But what I am hearing, and this is the secret, is I'm hearing a little bit of lack of low end. Why are we hearing a lack of low end? Because we haven't done any strategic high passing. Even though the kick is down there with some low end, which we can boost and we will do, the rooms and the control, the close rooms and the far rooms are just muddying that stuff. So I'm going to do a couple of things. We're going to solo those close rooms. We're going to solo those close rooms. I'm actually going to grab a DigiDesign generic trim plugin. I could do this with a multitude of different plugins, but it is free with your DAW, so it's definitely not interfering with our T-RackS thing. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to turn, you probably guessed it, one of the sides up a little bit. That's just giving me a little bit more evenness. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, I think I'm going to stay with the British channel for a moment. Don't worry, we are going to try other things. Not a problem at all. We're going to go to the British channel once more. Just because I know how I want it to be, and I think it's a great demonstration. So we're going to grab that. First thing I'm going to do in reference is I'm going to get rid of some of the low end. I'm going to go up to about 80 or 100. Let's go at, say, 100 and have a listen. So we're turning it on. We're high passing. Oh my God, he said high passing. If you watch the video we did yesterday, you'll notice when we listen to the drum sound from Grandmaster, where they recorded the Foo Fighters Everlong, go back and watch that. The low end on the rooms was really gently sculpted. And I said to him, you got to remember, this is one of the greatest songs ever recorded. I said, wow, you've got the low end really tamed in that. How did you do it? And he's like, yeah, I high passed my rooms. Well, again, high passing the rooms allows the low end to just come from the kick itself. Now let's go in and get to the usual kind of like 350, 400 kind of area. Great. I like that. Okay, let's go to the far rooms. That's a little bit right heavy as well, so I'm going to copy down that free with Pro Tools plugin. I'm actually very tempted. I'm going to do it. I'm going to copy down that same EQ and use that as a starting point. I've already done the work. I've already high passed. I've already ducked the low mids. Let's have a listen. The only problem I'm having with that is maybe just a little bit too much in the hats and stuff. So let's just have a quick dig around, have a quick look. And get the de-esser. Oh, it's set too high at the moment. There it is. I like this. I like being able to solo the DS. I like it might be quiet for you, so I apologize, if it's a little quiet. But as soon as I went onto the soft, I got rid of some of that kind of a thing. I slowed down the release time a little bit here. Now I can go back to normal and see what we got. I just like the way it's darkened it. And to me, that's good. Now, it does mean that I'm probably going to want to sort of like duck out some more low mids. Let's have a listen. Sometimes there's a certain amount that you can and can't do. I think a little bit of saturation can help in these instances as well. But let's get a blend. So I'm going to put all of the drums back in. Okay. Can you hear that? Can you hear? I haven't touched the kick drum. Have a listen to how much more definition is coming out of the kick drum now with those EQ points that we did using the British channel on the low end there. All right, I'm now going to bypass all the stuff that I just did and now have a listen to the kick. Put it back on. Try and keep that in your mind. I got more definition down there. I can hear the lows coming through. So what am I going to do? Well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all of the elements of the kick that we worked on, and I am going to bus them to one. Well, technically I'm going to bus them to two. Bus two. But I'm going to bus them to one auxiliary bus sub. I'm actually going to do, I'm going to pick up the same. No, you know what? Let's experiment. Warren, let's experiment here. Let us go, because it is tempting just to go back to the British channel. But I'm going to do a little quick look around here. Oh, there's a saturator. I should have pulled that out for something else. That would have been really nice. You know what? I'm going to go to the suite. The reason I'm going to go to the suite is going to be easier for me to see my options. The master processing here is just amazing, but we're not going to use that yet. Okay, so here we go. I can go to just EQs here. I can go to dynamics here. Can you see what's going on? So down here, I've got all my choices. I'm actually going to go and grab the 73. So I'm going to drop it in there. And I'm going to EQ into a compressor. So now I'm going to go up here to dynamics, click on it. And I'm going to go, what are my options? I've got the bus comp, I got the classic, the DS, the Dynamo. Dynamo, that would be amazing on the overheads. Okay, I hadn't thought about that. That's pretty amazing. Brick wall limiter, I want to go for that. I'm just going to drop the 1176 in. Okay, so let's have a listen. I'm going to listen to it in context just for you here. So this is in context, all the drums. So we're not even going to solo the kick out of it. We're just going to listen to it in context. So we'll go back to the chorus section. Excuse me a second. Would help if I was using it properly. We all make mistakes. I thought I'd already had it set to 60. I was like, nothing's happening. And I look over. I hadn't set it. Still very natural sounding. You've noticed, like, a lot of the times when I do mixes, I can get quite processed. I can get in there and do, like, really, really individual, pull it out, and the kick starts to become, like, really kind of aggressive. That's not what we're trying to do here. This is a band. It's got a freaking mandolin in the song. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be like... I want this to feel like a real band. Okay, so now I'm going to go to 360 here and cut. So I'm going to use the 1176 for the crunch. So we're going to have a look at that. Immediately speeding up the release time. Did you hear more thwack come in? Okay, so the far rooms here are the ones that are giving us the biggest phase issue. So I'm going to come up on that high pass even more, and you'll see the low end coming alive. Listen to what that cut here is doing on the snare. It's so nice. Now I'm getting a little bit of a build-up. This happens a lot. A little bit of a build-up at like 80, 100 on the kick drums. When you get multiple kick drum sources, whether they be samples or whether they be 3 or 4 mics on a kick drum, it can get a little bit of a crossover in those frequencies, which also sort of muddies up, muddies up some of the area, that the bass guitar wants to live in. So I'm going to go in and drop in, yeah, you guessed it, the British channel. I'm going to come in on there and I'm going to do, because I want to come in and maybe do like a wide Q cut on the low mid. At the same time as doing a boost on the low end. So I get a little bit more focused. I'm also not afraid to high pass it ever so slightly. So... Again, we're keeping this quite natural. I could go in there and pull out even more low mids individually on the elements and also be a bit more aggressive. Now, the great thing with the PR is it's mainly clicks. So let's bring that up. Understanding the individual elements of the drums is really useful because now I can go, oh, okay, pull this element up, pull that one down, and off you go. Still very natural. I like the rooms. There's a part of me that wants to abuse them a little bit. What do I mean by that? Well, the close rooms are more in phase with the kit. Those were recorded pretty close to the drums. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and grab a verb. And we had some fun recently with, let's have a quick look. I'm tempted to just go for the suite. That way I've got everything at my fingertips. So I'm going to do that quickly. So we're going to go and grab the suite and get to reverbs. That way, the great thing about grabbing this suite plugin is it means I can see everything that's new and nutritious and just ready to go. I'm going to grab the room. I'm actually going to take off any kind of EQ or compression before. This is the default. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually listening to the close room with a room on it. So this is the default. This is nothing, and we're going to bring it in. This is the default setting. Tell me that's not good. And that's right. That's immediately default setting. You know what's so cool? Anybody that follows me, what is the standard room reverb that I always put on? You know what it is. It's always that 3/4 of a second. It's almost like this is made for me. I'm going to, Dave, if you're watching, you need to call that the Warren preset. That's great. You know, that's what I want. That's what I wanted. It did the job. It's great. I'm going to turn it on and off. Have a listen. I think the kick still has a lot of like, oh. We can get in there and do some detail in a minute. But, there's other things I want to do. Okay, speaking of which, we got 2 more giveaways. So, and we're going a little longer today because, of course, we had that little interruption of the internet, or as our ex-president used to call it, the interwebs. So, the internet. Okay, what do I want to know? You know what? What reverb do you like? What's your favorite reverb? Have you used that T-RackS reverb? It's great that it defaults and it's a sound I want to use immediately. But, have you used a T-RackS reverb? If you have, what is the T-RackS reverb you use? And any kind of details. I started that music deliberately because I sneezed, so I didn't sneeze into it. So, T-RackS reverb, have you used it? If so, which one do you use? Okay, so what am I going to do now? I'm going to create a group of all of the drums. As you can see, I haven't actually done I haven't done a snare reverb. I haven't done a kick reverb. All I've done is that. I'm going to avoid doing as much stuff as possible because I want to keep this as natural as possible. We're doing, I like to do this every time we do these live things. I don't repeat myself. We do it mix every time. I know there's all the template mixing, and I understand and I completely relate, to want to have templates. I totally relate. However, if I just had a template and I was doing that every time and I wasn't using different plugins and I wasn't showing all the different ways, I would be doing you a massive disservice. Because then it would be like, this is my template and this is what I do and these are the 3 plugins that I like on every single song. How is that going to help you? You're going to be like, oh, okay, so I can't use any of my stock plugins. I can't use any IK. I can't do this. That's just ridiculous. So I love doing this. And if you've watched any of my streaming mixes, you'll know that every time I mix it differently. It doesn't mean that if I find a song and I get the right sound, I might use it as a template for a whole album if it was recorded similarly. But it's really, really important that, that I demonstrate to you, in all fairness, like a million different ways of doing this. Okay, so this is now a drum sub. I'm tempted, very tempted to go back, but I'm not going to use the British channel. What we're going to do is we're going to open up the suite. So we have a lot of choices and we can just load in what we want, but we're going to load up the suite and use this mastering processor on the drums. Yes! Really? Yeah, I'm going to do it because it's got so many things here that I can do. And I don't want to mess with the width on this. Maybe I will, but I don't think so. I'm going to keep the center. But I'm going to have some fun with it. So let's see what it does. You know what it does? It sounds really good immediately. Listen. On. Off. Now, what's interesting is there's a lot of kick in this. And so when it comes on, the kick is probably driving the compressor quite heavily. Let's have a look. Watch this meter here. I'd like you all to watch this meter and listen to the kick hits and listen to the snare hits, and you'll see that the kick is really driving this very, very heavily. There's about a 3 to 4, at least a 3, possibly 4 dB difference, and it's the low end of it. So let's, just before I do anything, we're not side chaining anything here, we're not doing this. Let's see what the body control does here. It's nice on the snare, bottom snare. Let's see what the bass punch does. Pretty nice. Let's see what the transients do. I mean, this is perfect for drums. It's exactly what you want in a drum bus compressor. I'm going to try this push. It's probably going to send it into total saturation. Yay! The kick's like, love it. Bring it down a bit. Let's try the focus. Oh, that's like some high, middly, nice, crunchy. Bring that a little bit too high, much higher for me. I like that. That's really good. It's really, really good. I like it a lot. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to go back to this. The reason why I'm not going to use it is I want to shape some of the sound of EQ into compression. So I'm putting up the British channel, and then I'm going to get the classic compressor afterwards. So let me show you what I'm going to do. This is the drum bus. Okay, I'm not gonna enable the fast attack at the moment. He's like, what? You'll see why. Suddenly now, I like this. You see what's going on? It's not as aggressive on the kick anymore. Why is that? because it has this feature. That's why whenever, see the sidechain high pass filters. So it's allowing that low end to breathe more. Now, you see where I was saying there was a buildup of 100 hertz? As soon as I get to 100 hertz, remember I was talking about on the kick? Watch the meter. This is why high passing and understanding it is really important. Watch the meter with the sidechain high pass at 100. Barely, like a dB, half a dB difference between the kick and the snare. Now, bring this down to like 60. Now look at the meter. All low end. So what is happening, and the reason why we high pass, and the reason why we understand this, is that if I don't use the sidechain function, that's what's great about this compressor, that it has it, and I'm glad that it's becoming standard, but it wasn't always standard, obviously, is that the kick drum was the only thing triggering the compressor, which is not smart. I don't want my whole mix to be pumping from the kick drum. Well, maybe you do. Maybe you're doing an EDM track, and maybe you want it to be on. But in this instance, we don't. So I'm going to go back up to 100 or so. Okay, I really like that. Okay, what I should do now, if I want to really go for it, for those of you that know these well, and somebody else already mentioned it, was put the clipper on the end. Put the clipper on the end here. This is where you can get really fun, have some fun with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down a bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass this. You're like, what? I'm going to bypass it. Okay, and now I'm going to do this. I've got my drum bus. I like what's going on here, and I'm now going to duplicate it. Yes, I'm going to duplicate the drum bus. Now, this comes out of superstition. Those of you that have been using DAWs for absolutely ages will know that delay compensation was always a pain in the butt back in ye olden days. So what does that mean? It meant that if you had different kinds of plugins on there, sometimes even though the delay compensation was on, you get this polarity shift. So me, humble Warren here, like what I like to do was always use the same sets of plugins. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go back to the British channel here. You guessed it. What was I saying I was going to do? Put this into bypass. I'm going to use the fast attack. Now have a listen on our parallel. Well, what it's doing to that. Listen to the kick and snare with the fast attack on and the fast attack off. All right, that's rather tasty, isn't it? Using the same EQ. We talked about this the other day. I was talking to Jack Douglas about this, and Shaliekas, two of the best engineers and producers from New York, about the New York parallel. And when I said to them, I heard from blah, 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 that you used to like parallel compress and EQ the parallel compression differently. They were like, huh? Like, I'm like, yeah, I heard that, you used to do that in New York. And they were like, huh? No. They're like, you don't do that. You don't have two different sets of EQ and then try and parallel them and blend them back together. You'll get all kinds of weird phasing and polarity. Of course. So that's another reason why I use the same plugins for doing that. I create something and then I just get more aggressive on my parallel. Okay, so now going back to, it's logical, isn't it? Now I'm going to go back to the compressor here. You can tell what I was doing there. I was just trying to get that hi-hat blend so it wasn't all about the hi-hat. Okay. Now, that's really aggressive, but that's why I like it. Now we're going to turn on the clipper. Actually, I don't want the clipper on. We're going to leave it off. Okay, so now we've got a completely destroyed drum sound, like absolutely destroyed. But we're not going to have it that loud, so we're now going to blend the two things together. So now this parallel, like, rah, its drum sound is going to be blended back into the main drum sound. I mean, God bless it. Sorry, I just hit the other track on the moment. It's like, even now with this super, super rough mix, you can just hear how much better those drums are getting. It's just infinitely better. Here they are, just on their own. We'll throw in some other elements. Going to take the parallel in and out. Have a listen. Fantastic. Yeah, baby. All right, let's do our last giveaway. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep going. We're going to go a few minutes longer because, of course, we had the internet issue there. So very sorry about that. But we're going to go a little bit longer. But we are going to do one more giveaway. And you know what? It's Eric. Eric, come here. He's terrified of me. Que paso? I need to use the bathroom. Okay. It's the Eric hour. Well, it's the Eric 5 minutes.
Intermission.
Eric intermission. You can play some like music.
Elevator music.
The chat isn't up. Sorry, my fault. You have to get it up.
No worries. Hello everyone. How is it going? Yes, intermission. Warren has gone to the restroom. I am here. Do not fret, because you know I am the real star here and I'm the one you guys all came for, right? Let's see. Unfortunately, I don't know where he left off because I was doing some post audio in the other room. How's it going? Let me see. Where's the chat? Pop up chat. Aha, look, it's a chat. There you go. Move that around. so someone asked if I'm a giveaway. the half a bee. How's it going, everyone? Does he bite? No, I do not bite. I'm good. I am good. Hi, Tim. Yeah, when you gotta go, Adam. You need a joke. All right, so let's see. Kid asks their dad, "Dad, make me a sandwich." The dad says, "Poof, you're a sandwich." Ba-doom. There we go. I am good, Tim. Don't erase everything. Yeah, knowing my luck. Just everything will just self-destruct. Not even erase. Well, it'll erase, but it will just off the drive and somehow off the backup drive and the third backup drive. It just all just gone. Just like that. Is Linda Carter hotter than all three angels? I gotta look at photos. I gotta see, because to be honest, Linda Carter does not ring a bell mentally. I'm young. Is that? I don't know. Anyways, the Eric bundle. Oh my god. Yes, Richard. Dad jokes. I gotta do something with this intermission. I mean, I am not a dad, but I love dad jokes. I can, do something music related. I can. Let's see. I think I've told you guys about the H3000 trick where you go in and you remove breaths in between the vocals whenever there's a breath, because when you have the H3000 tucked underneath the vocal, that S, sometimes the T's, the S's, especially in the breaths, they just stack on top of each other, and I mean, you're gonna be thinking it's the lead vocal, you're gonna be de-essing, and all you gotta do is just go in there and take those guys out. You could even, manually de-ess, which is just volume automate the lead vocal breaths down, which I've been doing a lot recently with, Warren's has been having me do a lot recently. Yeah, so if you guys use one of our multi-tracks or use the H3000 trick, the vocal thickening trick, keep an eye out for that. That will help a lot with not having to de-ess those breaths, because yeah, there's my tip. Make a screenshot of the screen and put it. That's a great idea. Yeah, and he is back.
Oh, you're trying to throw me under the bus? Because they're asking you awkward questions.
It was
Like how come you couldn't get the internet working? Stuff like that.
someone warned me not to erase everything, and it's like, yeah, well, knowing my luck.
Hello, everybody. We're big, we're bad, and we're back. Okay, just a couple more minutes. What? Oh, did we do the last giveaway? We did the reverb. Did we do the last giveaway, Eric? Okay, so the last giveaway. Sorry, I went to the bathroom and I forgot where we was at. So the last giveaway. We've done reverbs. We did whether you use T-RackS in general. I just wanted to kind of what do I want to know? What do I want to know? You know what? A dumb one. An easy to answer one for everybody, because I think it lets us know a lot about everybody in here is everybody in here. So the question is, what is your DAW of choice? What is your DAW of choice? And if you're not using a DAW, but are you recording on cassette? 24 track, 2-inch, it. What are you recording on? You could be recording on your iPhone or whatever. So what is your medium of choice? Okay. And now I am going to just listen and drop in elements and have a listen. So let us know. What do you record on? There is no right or wrong answer. Oh, and this also wins you a year membership to the Academy. So please hit that like button. That would be absolutely stupendous. Oh, I love that verse. Listen to where the drums sound there. I'm sorry, I could listen to that all day. That's so cool. So if you're in the academy, and by the way, somebody's going to win an academy. Easy for me to say, an academy membership. If with this, remember, we're giving out that too. Cubase, Logic Pro X. So once again, we apologize. That's why we're running a few minutes late for the interruption. So those of you that are rewatching this, and I apologize. For that failure. But I'm going to drop in the bass. Now, just to be contentious for all of the experts that say you should never start with the drums, which I agree, you don't have to start with the drums. But what's happened is we've evened out the drums, so now they have a fighting chance of actually sitting in the same world. IK Multimedia at Wax Cylinder Pro. I know, are you starting that new channel? Okay, so here we go. It's just the drums now have a fighting chance. It makes this, now we can sort of bring the mix together. Yamir, Pongsu Yamir. That's great. I love that. What a cool name. One, and they said they're using Reaper. Congratulations. Please, everybody, hit the like button. It means a lot to me when everybody hits the like button. Oh, it's your new DAW? Ah, Wesley, thank you very much.
I guess I'll get what I deserve over and over again for you. I'll take my lips and hope they heal over and over again. I guess I'll get what I deserve over and over again for you. I'll take my lips and hope they heal over and over again.
I mean, it's pretty much, now it sounds like a song that needs some finessing. So, yes, it might be true that you shouldn't always, start with the drums. But look, here's a reality. It's like getting that drum mix to be just the right level of aggressive, but still sound natural. Like we didn't, you notice on all the EQ we didn't do any like zip, 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 zip. We didn't do like the, when you watch people doing, oh, you liked it with the H3000 up, Emily? We didn't do all like these pinpoint fancy EQs and stuff that I see in a lot of videos. We did like a generic thing, and now we have energy in our drums, and we kept the natural sound of it, which is another thing about T-RackS that we love, is that it sounds natural. The plugins are designed to sound like real EQs and real compressors. They're not weird machines that kind of make everything sound like a robot. So congratulations to the winners. 3 winners of the T-RackS Max today. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you everybody who stuck it out after we had the internet issue. That really means a lot. I know it will affect heavily the post views. Schnizzle happens. Thank you ever so much. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you all again very soon. I'm just going to have a quick listen.
War after war after war.
Right, no compression, no EQ on the vocals, no effects. God bless it. Sounding really great. It really is a case for this song to get the drums, to have just the right amount of aggression, but still sound natural, still sound like a big, like something's happening. And I really like where it's gone. So, in the real world, that's not a lot of plugins. Like, forget about the time adjuster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 instances across the whole drum kit, and that includes two sets of drum buses. Sometimes it's just about judicial use. Oh, you're very kind, nobody you know. That's very, very kind of you indeed. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, IK Multimedia, for giving us all of those plugins to give away. That's very kind of you. Once again, everybody, sorry about the internet interruptions there. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. I'll see you again very, very soon. So long, farewell. Oh, for all the Academy members, if you're not a member of the Academy yet, please join the Academy. Please hit the like button on your way out. Leave us a message afterwards. I really appreciate it. Thank you. You rock. And all the Academy members, we're going to do a live stream at 9 a.m. tomorrow, 9 a.m. PST, from 9 till 10:30 in the morning, and we'll be doing the Feedback Friday for all of you there. Okay, thanks ever so much. All rock.